We are live, John D.O. Jado.
JDO. JDO.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome, everybody, to the AI Revolution with Cody Willard, John D. Oliveira, and Bryce Smith. I'm Cody. That's John. This is Bryce. Every week I've told you guys we for the last 2 months, every week on Monday at this time, John has graciously given his time to Bryce and I to learn how AI works, to cover some of the latest AI news. As Kamala Harris could tell you, AI stands for artificial intelligence. Anybody seen that clip? Johnny saw that clip a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago. It was funny. I thought it was funny. I'm not funny, but she was funny. She wasn't trying to be. Anyway, John, look what we have.
Oh my.
Deep Learning, the book that Elon Musk recommended. It's
very technical.
It's a little technical. Bryce has struggled through the introduction.
Yeah.
And a less technical, but a even thicker book.
Yeah. Yep. Norvig wrote a bunch of books on AI over the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Norvig.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you read these books?
Nope. I had previous ones by Norvig, but not those particular. You know how many different books there are on that topic there?
It's a lot. We've been trying to sort through and pick some interesting ones out.
I picked these two because they are recommended to me by ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, if you want to be working as like a deep learning engineer, but like I was, as I was pointing out last time, guys, it's changing. Like what you have to know in order to be super effective with this stuff is like very little of what's in that book. The book's very interesting stuff, and it's like it gives you more of a background and you get more what's going on, but it's not like what you need to know. You need to know a lot less than that and a lot different than that.
Well, and as you keep talking, the fact that we engage with AI through spoken language, our own native spoken language of English, as we all speak here, but it works also in most languages, maybe not Wookiee, but it also, it's multimodal, that you can talk to it, you can put in images to it. John, I haven't done this. So I was thinking about doing it. I have my medically fragile daughter, Amaris, is 9 years old, and she's had 2 or 3 broken legs because she doesn't walk or talk, and so she hasn't built bone density in her legs, and they are fragile. And I wondered, I have a couple of x-rays, images from the years past. And I wondered if I uploaded that x-ray to ChatGPT, would it be able to tell me if she had a broken bone?
They pulled it down. Yes, it's capable of that, and it can get very specific. It's actually quite good at reading x-rays, but it's one of those things where they're kind of trying to not let people go and just be doctors because they feel like it's not the right time to, mess with the medical community and like create that confusion. So they literally took back the capability that was there.
Does that make sense to you? Or should it just be like, look, if it works, the medical industry will have to deal with it, and it will make people's lives better by having more and more often accurate diagnoses?
Yeah, so I don't know. I generally agree with what you're saying because it feels kind of nanny state for it to be making those kinds of decisions. But what they're doing is I guess I understand the underlying thought, if not the specific decision in this case. Like the underlying thought is stuff is going to get really crazy really soon, and so they don't want to big bang release something that will go cause lots of problems, but they also do want to release as soon as possible things that get people used to what things are going to be like. So they're trying to control the things toward, they want stuff out there as soon as possible, but they want to control toward people getting used to what it is they have.
Sounds like a bunch of BS, man. Like,
I don't know. Like you could take it with the stuff we talked about with, with politics, with, misinformation. It's like if you throw it out there and suddenly everyone all at once can do stuff that just totally messes with how, the elections happen or something, then they're like, well, let's put something out a little bit, see the kinds of things that happen so we can make the protections against it.
And who's going to watch the watchers? Who's the guy who's protecting me, and who's going to protect me from the guy who's protecting me, John?
You and I have had these kind of discussions before, even without the technology aspect, and it's a good question. But I think an interesting factor is all of the open source language models, and the fact that it's not like OpenAI controls the world with these things. So they have to respond to that.
That's a good segue to this week's biggest AI news, I would think, would be Elon Musk's X.AI releasing the Grok.
That was the biggest news as of yesterday. As of today, the biggest news is the OpenAI dev. What do they call it? Basically, it was like when a developers conference kind of thing, like Apple does, where they announce new stuff, and OpenAI announced new stuff today.
Like what? Bryce and I have been head down working on our day job of managing money.
Yeah.
And literally, I don't know anything that was.
Yeah. It was midday.
Got nothing, but I've been researching stocks all
yes,
day.
I get it. But I happened to be at a late lunch or whatever. It was at 1:00 Eastern that there was I knew this meeting was going to take place. So I went and got into the live stream, and they announced a number of things. One is Chat GPT will now be based on 4 Turbo. So this is a new version of 4, and it's caught up to April 2023. And they're going to stay, to be close in time like that. It also has the the kind of web search integration in a way where you don't have to ask for it or say, look this up. It's just built into what it does, similar to what Bing had done. So that's the stuff that's going on with just the ChatGPT side, and there'll be more happening there. But the bigger announcement was a developers meeting, and it was for developers, and they came out with a thing they call GPTs, which are, you could think of them like apps, or like they're actually more like they're like custom models that you can go and say, I'm going to make this one, and it's going to help startup people with giving them advice, and I'm going to help this one, and it's going to help marketing people with the stuff they make and put out and whatever. And you can go in and configure, what it talks about. You can include your own data into it. So basically they're maybe killing the whole PDF GPT stuff, because it's now sort of, built in to what they do there. It like some phenomenal stuff. And then the integration with kind of having GPT be able to call APIs is much easier and works better. And instead of it being a big, they showed some examples that other customers had done that took 3 to 6 months and a team of people. And it's like, now you can just, as a person, do it, and by talking to the thing. And they gave an example with Zapier, with the lady gets there and she's like, this thing's hooked into 1,000 apps, and now OpenAI knows what those are. And you can go, do I have any, did I get emails from anybody on my team that were about blah? It's like, oh yeah, there was this one that was about this here. Okay, well, tell them this, and it's like sending and receiving, but just not just email, but against a ton of things. So they're saying it's their kind of dipping their toe into agents, and that you'll see more coming after this settles in. And this is the thing about kind of dribbling it out. about the agent idea, because the agent idea is you're, telling the thing, here's what I want, and then it's going off and doing it. It's not just, finding an answer to a single question and coming back. It's going and asking other questions or talking to other agents and coming back with doing things on your behalf, kind of thing. So
does ChatGPT, it's got an ecosystem of developers right now. Is it subsuming a lot of what those developers have been working on? Is that what you're describing? That it's basically like you talked last week about PDF GPT or whatever it was called, but it was what you're describing now, where it's like you could upload a giant PDF and tell it, hey, I want you to break this down for me into 5 bullet points or something. And that type of stuff now is just subsumed. So what happens to the company that spent all the last 6 months working on that?
Right. I mean, this is the kind of stuff we've seen before with Microsoft, with Google, whatever. You get the big kid on the block decides what they want to get themselves interested in. And I've always tried to steer clear of something too immediately likely to get swallowed up. So I want to go a little more niche, where like they're not going to get themselves in a particular, I was using the example yesterday with like, I don't know, rental real estate or anything you want to name, just name some, vertical or something or some segment where it's specific enough. It's just not what they're going to do. They're not going that, if it's not about AGI, they're not doing it. But if it's kind of a horizontal platform oriented kind of capability, they're going to subsume it. And you're wasting your time if you get in there.
So John, your company that you've been working on this project that using ChatGPT's technology to create sales training video tools, interactive video tools for new salespeople, existing salespeople, for basically most any kind of organization, that doesn't get subsumed. That ChatGPT is not going to turn something like that on themselves.
There's stuff that happens like, oh, it's now easy to go and tell a chat thing, go be a partner for me and talk to me about whatever. But for them to take it that next step where it is customized to the stuff that a particular company wants to talk about. And, like each company is not going to go and say, let's go do this hey, you want a demo, by the way?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do that right now. Here we go.
Yeah. Present. Do you know how to present on here?
I'll give it a shot.
I got faith in you.
Let's do it live.
First thing is going to be, can you hear it? Right. So I'll share and then you tell me if you can hear.
Evan, let's do it live. Do it live. Fuck.
I know what that is. Let's just go. I'm in an environment that you're not supposed to.
There we go. We do not hear her.
You don't hear her?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna try once again. I came in through screen share. I'm gonna come in through like browser tab share.
Yeah. Yep. Try that. I'll remove this one. Oh, you did.
Okay.
We're still going to talk about Grok, by the way, everybody. Stick around because I want to hear what John has to say about Grok.
But I swear the stuff we're showing here, by the way, is very relevant. I
know. I'm teasing them for more
large language models.
I want to learn about Grok. I want to Grok.
Okay.
That was a bad dad joke in the AI realm. You don't even know what Grok means.
No, you told me earlier something about learning.
He's never read Stranger in a Strange Land. Did you give me that book in college, I believe, John?
I don't think it's Heinlein, right? It didn't come from me, but it's also a thing. I think Spock used the word. Have
you ever read Stranger in a Strange Land?
Yeah, but it was like 30 years ago. So
yeah, me too. I was 20 something.
Darn it, man. Where is?
I don't know, John D. Oliveira. You're going to have to show us the example next week so we don't have everybody waiting for us.
Yeah. It's, I think you would like it. Oh, I know what I'll do. Hang on one second.
All right, you got
Just
10
give me
more
one
seconds.
more second. I'm gonna get, and
I can read
there,
from-
we'll drag it out like this.
I'm going to read from Deep Learning while we wait.
Oh, it's not so bad. Come on.
I'm going to define linear algebra for you. Linear algebra is a branch of mathematics that is widely used throughout science and engineering. Now, that's helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're down to our last 10 seconds.
No, we were already down to our last 10 seconds. You're past the time limit.
I can't believe how harsh you're being about a.
Dude,
On the
I'm
spot.
in TV business.
We're live. We're live. You're the one who said do it live.
Good.
Yeah, I might continue in the background to see, but let's continue.
No, we got to keep it focused here. You got to be on us. We'll do it next week. We'll practice next week before we come, and we'll get a demonstration from John's video sales technology. I'll try to sell the technology, my hedge fund, and
No,
see.
I got my guts up to go show it and everything, and now that was your last chance. You're never.
No, he'll be here next week. He'll do it. I promise.
All right.
Paying him the
Sorry,
big
guys.
bucks for
I
these
couldn't get the screen share. I've got like 150 tabs open, and
Yeah, that is a problem. That is a problem. I on the other end only have 64 tabs open. So, John, talk to us about Grok.
okay. So Grok,
Elon Musk. Let me introduce it. Elon Musk, Elon Musk invested and helped create ChatGPT. OpenAI and its ChatGPT technology. Sam Altman, for lack of a better term, threw Elon out of the company, stole the technology and everything that Elon had helped create, and screwed Elon over. And so Elon was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own ChatGPT competitor now. So he went and started X.AI. And they released Grok this weekend, and apparently Grok is supposed to be humorous and sarcastic most of the time. I'm not trying to give you a thumbs up, Zoom. Stop doing that. And number two, it's supposed to do things that the protectors don't want, they're trying to protect us from. So it's supposed to be a little more out there and aggressive and talk politics and partisan politics and be a little more edgy. Good word, edgier. So Bryce, John, take it away.
Spicy even. Well, the way you describe it makes Musk sound like a victim, and I doubt he was a victim, but he kind of goes the way he wants to go. But he certainly was. His trouble with them was that OpenAI was neither open nor AI. No, I guess it's AI, but it wasn't open. It's like, what do you mean by open? It's like in their name, but they originally were going to.
Yeah, it was supposed to be not profitable either, a non-profit, and then they were like,
invented this whole capped profit kind of notion. You can only make 1,000 times your money or something like that. So there was that, and there's Grok. So the first benchmarks, and there's not a lot of them yet, and they're coming from XAI. Everything's X with Elon Musk. There's Twitter is now X. There's SpaceX. There's a Model X on the cars, just so that it would spell out S3XY, which is sexy. So everything's X. X.AI is this, I think it's its own entity. And in the few benchmarks that are there, it's like passing the ChatGPT 3.5 a little. And certainly it's more like up to the moment information, because it's including, stuff from Twitter as well and so forth. There's very little that's known so far. They've just shared it with a small set of people. Like supposedly I have my little blue check mark, but that didn't get me access to it. You've got to be on their premium level to get access. So I'm not that like impressed yet. I am. It's good that it's not as censored and stuff like that. That's good. What are they going to do? He was originally complaining about OpenAI not being open. Is he going to be open, or did they settle in on I guess we know it can't be now, because I don't see him going and giving away his model.
He's not exactly been benevolent with the whole approach thus far. With that,
yeah, I mean, so you got your Facebook is more open, and that was an accident, but they did put out their their model, and it was the basis of a lot of the open source language models now.
How was that an accident? How was Meta opening up their source to the world an accident?
Well, Llama came out of Meta.
Right.
Llama was the underlying model that once trained became alpaca and this and that and the other. It's got to be hundreds of variations now that are coming out of that thing. But they were the first really big place with a real big model to just have it completely open source to the world. And I think it was a leak at first, but then they were like, oh, let's go make lemonade. And it's continued down that road, but I don't see XAI doing that.
John, we mentioned, I think last week, talked a little bit about the dominance of Microsoft and Meta and Tesla and Google and, Microsoft / ChatGPT. And then XAI just, within 6 months from founding to release, you even said it it's up there with 3.5 GPT. GPT is now on 4, it's on 4.0, not 3.5. And, in a year it'll be on 5.5 or 6 or something. Is it easy enough if you had billions of dollars of capital to build the hardware? Is it easy enough to create large language models that machines can learn from?
If you have
start doing it.
If you have 10,000 GPUs, and which Tesla does, but
if you and I went out right now and raised $5 billion to buy 10,000 H100s from NVIDIA to run large language model sets, would we be able to, within 6 months, to release a
step one would be wait in line, because all those things are already there. All those GPUs, graphics processing units, that are the basis of the kind of compute that gets done to build these language models, they're all kind of claimed. It's like showing up.
There's 18 months before you could get.
Yeah, you're like showing up at that popular restaurant after the review went out, and you're like, damn, I used to get a seat in this place. It's like that.
But okay, but assuming that we could get our hands on, we went into the second-hand store and bought a bunch of H100s in the black market or something.
Yeah. No. So now the next thing is there are good open source language models. They're good. They're not at the level of Grok or ChatGPT, and the other thing that those ones have that these mostly open source ones don't is the top talent in the world. So they're able to go and at that kind of intersection of between good and great, or at the interface between good and great, is that set of people who can go make it to go to the extra mile. How do you set up your RLHF pipelines? So a pipeline for these data science people.
Tell them what RHLF stands for again.
Reinforcement learning, which is with human feedback, is this process of going back to humans and saying, here's what the thing's saying so far in answer to this and that question. And it's like dishing the stuff up to have the humans say, yep, nope, yep, for like, were those good answers? And you need, and doing that kind of stuff well involves setting up pretty sophisticated data pipelines. That's where, you're lining up the versions of data that have to get dealt with and have to have the next thing happen to them and have to get processed in a certain way. And it's like moving them from here to here to here. It's actual big work with big data.
So, John, in 2 years and 4 years, does the 4 or 5 major AI, large language model, machine learning companies that are out there, that the aforementioned Microsoft, Tesla, Google, Meta, maybe Apple, maybe 2 or 3 others, does their lead in this race get so far ahead of everyone else that no one's going to be able to come along and do a model and catch them in 5 years?
I wonder if, and I always like compare it to open source because, the ones you named, they'll have a couple other, entrants in there. Stability AI, I was mentioning, is one to watch. But, on the open source side, maybe open source is going to be like Linux, where, people are like, yeah, I would never use Linux. I use Windows or Mac. It's like, yeah, but do you realize the world runs on Linux? So like all of like AWS, the whole cloud for Amazon runs on. So it's like, there may be that huge important aspects of it are doable by folks. And the one other thing I want to say about it is I'm seeing where the talk right now is about, well, who's making the language model and who's going to make the next language? How easy will it be to make a language model? Everything like that. And that was cool.
Yeah, I like that better.
Because I was going to go in and edit this and like do a redo on like the thing, hand it back to you and say, here's the call, like redone, but put it back in the other method. That was good.
Well, then we couldn't see Bryce. We lost Bryce.
Oh, damn it. Bryce, move over. That's all. You shift your chair. No, but this is much better. This is the other thing is just noisy with all the, the stuff going on. This is much better.
So you worked hard on that art, John, and you just,
sorry. It's just noisy.
It was
for this purpose.
All right, keep going, John.
Okay, here's the point. Here's my point. Okay. All this talk has been about language models. It's been about like, who's got the best language model? Who's coming out with the next language model? In a few years, do you think so-and-so will be able to have a language? And it's like, what I'm seeing from what just happened with the OpenAI announcement is, language models, once again, I've said it, say it again, the language model is the CPU. We don't stay talking about CPUs for too long. We start talking about the whole computer or the whole network or the whole, whatever is made out of it. So the
apps that run on my CPU.
Yeah, perhaps the apps. Yeah. So the talk about agents and what gets done with those language models and how those agents are fronting each one its own different language model. Like I got this agent and it has all the, the Wall Street knowledge, and there's this agent and it has all the like insurance knowledge. And there's an agent that understands like startups and it's kind of feeding info to both of them so that they can modify how that, and then you go and you start talking to those agents like they're employees or consultants for you or whatever. And then they just get stuff done with each other and they come back to you with finished products. And so we're going to stop talking so much about language models and start talking about the ecosystem. That is, you're good with echo?
Eco.
The ecosystem that, comes from, this is where it's really just starting to get interesting.
An ecosystem just repeats itself back to you. Echo.
Ecosystem just repeats itself back to you.
Get it? Echo. So I was reading a report from Morgan Stanley. They published it maybe September 10th, and it's called Unlocking Tesla's AI Mojo, because of the dojo.
Mojo is also an important new language to be used by this stuff, but that's
not what these guys meant. They were talking about the momentum, the mojo of it all. Anyway,
who's it from?
This was several months ago, and it's a mainstream firm, and they made Tesla their #1 pick because of the Dojo computer, which is Tesla's AI supercomputer. But the reason I bring this up isn't because of Tesla. It's interesting. This talks about the global supercomputers as of March 2023. Number one is Meta. This is measured in A100 GPU count. How many? I really wish they'd stop with these freaking.
Doesn't happen to me. It's in your Zoom settings or something.
Yeah, I'm going to try to turn that off. AI, turn off my Zoom settings. Didn't work. Number one is Meta with 22,000 GPUs in their system. Number two is Leonardo in the EU, which has about 13,000. Tesla has about maybe 8,000 A100s. Tesla has also built its own D1 super GPU AI chipset. Then there is Perlmutter in the US, NVIDIA Selene, and Stability AI makes the list as one of the biggest supercomputers running the most amount of GPUs so far. I find that interesting that there's a private company that's already there.
Yeah.
We've been talking about Stability AI for
the way I heard it, I don't know if they own all those, but they somehow got use of them from all different places, universities, different things. I don't know whether it's all directly owned.
They're also working with Intel to build a new supercomputer using all Intel CPUs, and then Intel's new Gaudi accelerators, which are like
who's doing that?
Stability AI.
Yeah. There's somebody to watch.
Interesting. Wonder what their valuation in the private market is. Anybody want to guess? I'll go with 40 billion. I bet their market valued at already.
Wow. You're going to say 40 billion.
I am going to say it, and you can't stop me. All right. One other thing I want to do here, John, in the few minutes we have left for today, I'm going to present and share my screen and check this out. My daughter has become addicted to ChatGPT also now that DALL-E is integrated. And so the other day she said, Dad, let's make a unicorn of a supervillain at an academy. And, it's all right. But then we've been refining it and making them cooler and cooler. She came into my office today and she wanted to make herself a superhero fighting. We have a new Great Dane mutt that is adorable, but a little bit annoying because it's still like a 5-month-old puppy. And so we told it to create a comic book poster of a 9-year-old supervillain named Lincoln fighting a Great Dane mutt. And came up with these. And we're like, hey, use the first image, but give her long blonde hair. And check how cool that looks. Isn't that an awesome cover? And then we said, that's cool, but make it a Michelangelo. And it totally messed it up. So then we said, make it a Picasso. And I thought that one was really cool. And then this is the one. We were like, now, come on. What's this, Bryce?
I don't know.
Refresh.
Did you click on the picture? That's what happened?
Yeah, refresh. Here we go. Come on, ChatGPT. Waiting for feature gates. There we go. Look at that. Is that not amazing? Like the detail down here even. Look at all these dogs and clouds. And it looks like something Michelangelo would have made. Look at the muscles on that dog. That dog is freaking on steroids.
Yeah, he lost his spots. But other than that,
yeah, that's true too.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is, like just creating art that quickly. What we're going to end up doing, what Lincoln wants to do is create a comic book. And we're going to, basically take one of these styles and write the story and
I want to do that too. Yeah.
To enhance it and publish it on Amazon or something. That's what she wants to do.
There's a great book, Understanding Comics, which, gets at how comic books are like made or what goes into deciding how to do it, kind of thing. Really good book.
That's how many books have you read in your life, John?
I have no idea.
10,000?
My daughter read 1,000 in the last 3 years.
It's a lot of reading. 3 books. What is that? 3?
Yeah, 3 a week.
Book a day. Yeah.
It's 3 a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I'm talking big, 300-page type books. But,
I bet not this one. She did not read this one as part of that 1,000.
that was not in there. It'd be so awesome if it was.
Do you have any books that we should read, John?
Do I have books you should read?
On
I
AI?
still like, there are ones that don't fit with what's exactly happening, but I still like The Society of Mind, which is by Marvin Minsky. And what's cool about it is it's large format. It's every side of a page is a freestanding kind of sub chapter. Is like a idea is conveyed on one page worth, and you can read it in whatever order, and it's a theory of how the mind works. We're talking about these agents, these AI agents, and how they each know their own different little thing, that none of them has kind of the whole picture. It's the idea is that the mind works like that, and it's very clever.
That's cool. Let's buy that book, Bryce.
Sure.
It's illustrated too.
Do you know
nice.
this book, John?
No.
Shane? Come on. It's a great movie too. Bryce, you know Shane? Oh, shame on you both. How about this one, John?
So he thinks, oh, well, of course, the Illuminatus. I used to not even say the word. You wouldn't even say
I would not let you say the word out loud when we were in college. True story.
So wait, yes, The History of Pi. Have you, no, I don't know.
Just seeing how many, just curious out of the books on my shelf.
Remember, like,
all day, John, and quiz you.
I don't know. Do you remember about 10 minutes ago when I got in trouble for taking too long to find some?
Yeah, I'm ending the call with asking. I'm blushing because it was so bad.
Cody's 50 books
I just was curious if you had read. I was just wondering if you'd read any of those books, and you had Illuminatus. It's a hilarious book. If you haven't read that book,
I don't know. You just said ending the call, and I'm like, that's a topic for you, but it's not, or a thing to think about, right? It's to do with the stuff we were already talking about, but it's like, kind of go back to the part about, did they just, end the companies for all these ones that they just incorporated it themselves and everything? And my question is, what's the right, I hear some of your, listeners ask, okay, what should I invest in? And it's like, well, you're asking the wrong guy for that question, because I don't, but I could say companies to go look at, maybe stuff like that. But I asked the question, how to get in and participate in a business sense in what's going on. If you look at some of the stuff that it's moving so fast, and like OpenAI says, oh, now it does this, and a month later they're like, and now it does this. It's like, so if you built something on what they even if they didn't take it away and do something themselves or whatever, it's like, yes, but they've added to it so significantly that whatever it was that you built on top of what was there, it's like, who cares about that anymore? This is the new thing. This is the new thing, right? So my question is, how do you, I guess, two things: identify the customer, like the segment that you could help, and I think that us talking about this, we already know more than 95% of people out there, just the fact that we're even paying attention. So there's 100 million businesses in the world, and most of them have no idea what we're talking about. So it doesn't matter that you're not the cutting edge. It matters, can you, like my brother, can you just go, buy a window washing business, can like find a way to participate in the economy and so forth. And so like, I'm like, what's the window washing business of the, of making use of this stuff, of bringing this stuff to businesses?
John, you made me just think of something that lesson I've learned repeatedly over the years was the dot-com bubble happened, then the dot-com crash happened, and then it was amazing that 10 years later, you could start a website that would change the world. You could start in 2002, every .com was worthless. Amazon was a split adjusted 30-cent stock at this from these levels. And you could go out and start an incredible idea. Netflix started stream. In 2005, I did a segment on CNBC with Larry Kudlow's show, and we went out and I was talking to people on the street about, hey, can you, what do you think? What can you imagine the day when you'll be able to watch any video, any Hollywood content on the internet for free? And they're like, that doesn't even make any sense. You know, they were like, you have to have a disc or a broadcast set-top box. And Netflix finally in like 2012 started streaming movies. And it wasn't until 2020, 15 years after I was talking about it, that Disney released Disney Plus, that Paramount released Paramount Plus, that Comcast released Peacock. And those businesses are worth tens of billions of dollars. And it's amazing how you're right. You don't have to be doing AI right now to benefit from AI or to be ahead of the curve of AI in another 2, 3, or 4 years. You could start your AI company after it's all established and developed, and you think everything's already been thought of, and someone's going to come up with an amazing utilization of AI technologies to create a $100 billion company.
Like, did Netflix even have to see the future to go and do what they did? Or did they have to see the present really well? Because they were named Netflix because they knew they were headed in the direction of doing it over the net as opposed to the discs they started out with. They had the vision for it, and they could see that it was really a matter of, baud rates, if you will. Like modems couldn't handle sending a whole movie through, but you could watch the curve and you're like, clearly a few years from now, you're going to have the throughput that you need, the bandwidth, and they knew that and they could see that, and so they built for that.
I don't know, John. I push back a little bit. I interviewed Reed Hastings years ago. Is that the name? This founder? Who's the CEO?
That's right. Yeah.
Not
Back,
the CEO anymore, but
yeah, but the guy was the CEO and the founder of it. And I've read a lot about Netflix over the years, and they talk about how they were like going to start a diaper company, a pets product company, and they kicked around. They just knew they saw the internet, and they were like, we need to do stuff on the internet. And the reason we invest off and on in Netflix for the last 15 years and why we own it right now is, as much as anything, they famously started going like, hey, what do people hate? They hate late fees for when at Blockbuster. So they're like, hey, no late fees. Keep the disc as long as you want. I go, oh, all right, that's amazing.
Paying attention.
And then they started streaming, and they were like, hey, what do people hate? They hate commercials. So we'll do it, no commercials. And they're like, hey, what do people hate? They hate having to wait every week for the next show. Well, drop the whole season at once. And, to this day, they try to do opposite of what people hate. And that's what, if you've got that mentality, you're going to create a business on AI that's going to change the world.
Yeah, for sure. So now, given that you're not likely to make the next, $100 billion company, but that you can make, 2 or 3 $10 million companies or something. It's like where your attention is more, down a level on that. It's like, well, what can we see about what's going on so that we can make some of those calls about how, where we jump in, how to participate. Like, you can jump in this. I get it in the investment sense. I get it. You look at what's happening and you can jump in like that. But I'm wondering from a business standpoint, where do you jump in?
Yeah, John, I think actually there's an important point that you're underscoring here, that jumping in on the investment side can be problematic on several reasons. Number one, you're betting on other people developing something that is valuable for you. Number two, you're betting that the current valuation of those companies is going to turn out reasonable at some point in the far distant future. And number three, you're betting on a whole system that is speculative. Whereas if you have a great idea and you are a music producer or a real estate appraiser or like the amount of, there's not an industry that won't be impacted by AI. And if you can be one of the guys who just helps impact that industry in AI, there's tens of millions of dollars to be made. And I don't think the same is true for, let me go buy the next AI IPO when Anthropic comes public or Stability AI comes public. Let me get in. That's going to be a guaranteed win. No, man, that stuff can come public 10 times overvalued.
Yeah, it's all figured in already. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's dangerous. Whereas if you build a business yourself, Bryce and I were playing around today. I was like, hey, the new X.AI's new technology is called Grok. And somehow Bryce went over and he went to GoDaddy and he was like, oh my God. He was like, hey, is Grok.ai available? And it is for $400,000. But then we were like, I wonder if there's another great variation off of the word AI that is probably going to be a great business to build right now. And you just need to go buy the URL, and you could probably even sell the URL to someone right now. I was just thinking, John, you've talked about developing an influencer brand in coming years around AI. How about JDO.ai, a website? JDO.ai.
And now you're going to charge me a whole lot for it?
I already bought it. It'll be $1,000. No, I'm just kidding. I would, I do remember about 10 or 15 years ago, I think I reported it, that the last 3-letter .com was bought. There were no more 3-letter combinations that ended in .com. Mm-hmm. And the same would be true of .ai in another 5 years. Every 2 or 3-letter .ai. So my final advice for all you people watching, Bryce and I might even go play with it ourselves. It'd be great if we had an AI system that would actually do it for us. If I could tell an AI bot, go find me any 3-letter .ai domain names that are not already bought, and then buy it. They're about $50 a year right now for .ai. What's the country that AI stole its?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, I looked it up. I don't remember the name.
Yeah, neither one of us remembers the name now. I never heard of it.
British island in the Caribbean.
Well, it used to be based around that stuff like countries, but then they opened it up to where, there's no country called like life.
Right, but to this day, like .tv, if you buy a .tv domain name, Tel Aviv, what's the web? There's a country that we took .tv.
No, right, but it used to be that's all you could get.
What's that?
It used to be that's all you could. It used to be you could only get a domain that went with a country.
But about a year ago or 2 years ago, they made it so you could buy John de Oliveira.
Yeah, you could get almost anything as a suffix or an ending now. So for sure that's the thing is like keep in mind there's this economy developing and make vacuum cleaners because that's like electricity got out there and it didn't have the use for it yet. And then things that use electricity started to get out there. So go be the next Kirby.
And now we make crypto mining. Last question, Bryce.
Should I start an AI company and why should I raise money at $10 billion valuation?
10 billion?
Yeah.
Did you say?
Yes.
So that you can walk away with it, as long as you don't go to jail like Sam Bankman-Fried, as long as you're not going down that road. I don't know how you get yourself a 10B valuation out of the gate. You're in a class of your own.
I think the market's there.
I honestly think if John de Oliveira started an AI company today, he could go raise money at hundreds of millions of dollars and soon thereafter build something that then he goes back and he's like, yeah, $5 billion market cap, and you're off to the races.
I could get something up to 5 billion if I put together the right team, but it's going to start a lot smaller. So to all you listeners, no.
Bryce and I were also reading today about the United States of America versus John Hughes and the co-conspiracy. It's amazing that in this day and age, there are still hedge funds out there that lie, cheat, and steal from investors.
$400 million.
$400 million fraud.
Wow. So my last company just went public for $3 billion, I think, last week. Sprinkler.
Oh yeah, Sprinkler.ai.
Yeah, I was head of product there. Not really. I came in and it wasn't really head of product position, but I ran product marketing. I ran international operations.
Is it a real company?
No E, SPRINKLR.
Yeah.
And it's a real company, and it's a big company, and it's doing big business. And I left, and then they went public. So,
so I should be taking lots of investment advice from John.
Yeah.
Is it .ai?
No.
.com.
Did you find it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll share my screen real quick.
Yeah, he was my direct report, the CEO, Raji.
That guy?
Yeah, this guy is high powered.
What's the stock symbol, John? Do you know?
SPRN. Let me see.
I can look it up here. CXM.
Oh, you know what that stands for is customer experience management. They invented that concept.
Customer experience. That's a pretty good little thing. Wow. There, let me share this screen.
They really knew what they were doing, man. So this is just last week, I think. They went.
John, they've been public since August.
Oh, a couple of months ago? Okay.
Yep, right here.
Yeah, I just heard about it.
No, John, I got bad news for you. They came public in 2022.
Oh, it didn't just happen. See,
20.
they didn't tell me because I
knew we looked at this before.
Yeah, I think it's in my basket. But when he said it came public this last week,
then you were like, "No, it's not."
Oh man, look, you're live, and you're live, and I'm lying.
I wasn't doubting John. I was like, well, it must not have been the one I was.
I'm not paying attention. My brother sent me a email on it and said, "Hey, did you know they went public?" I was like, "No," so I figured he was telling me the new information.
No,
now
it was old.
Now I'm disowning him. Forget him.
The company is worth $4 billion. You can easily surpass that next month.
Yeah.
JDO.ai. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. John, I appreciate you always being here. I love to learn from you. I'll see you next week. I'm actually going to be in New York next week at this same time, same bat channel. Bryce will host next week. You two are talking AI together.
I'll be still in DC area, so I'm going to miss you. But
yeah, it'll be a lot more educational next week. I can promise that.
Are you hosting?
Bryce will be hosting next week.
Oh, I love it.
We won't be distracted by Illuminati books.
Yeah. All right.
Shane. If you haven't read Shane, read Shane. Great.
Send me the Bryce. Send me the pre-meeting notes and the project plan for next week. We're going to do things professionally.
All right.
It's the unforgettable novel of a boy's love and a gunman's struggle to escape his past.
Weird.
Peace and love, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, John.
See you. Bye.